Harlem, 1930s. Neon lights glow outside packed jazz clubs. Trumpets cry into the night air. Laughter spills onto Lenox Avenue. But beneath the music and the shimmer of the Harlem Renaissance, another world is alive. A quieter world. A world where money means control, and control means survival. In that world stands a small, sharp-eyed man who rarely raises his voice. His name is Ellsworth Raymond Johnson, but Harlem knows him by another name, Bumpy. He was born in 1905 in Charleston, South Carolina, into a country that did not pretend to offer equal protection. The Jim Crow South was not an abstract idea, it was a daily calculation of risk. Lynchings were not rumors, they were warnings. When his older brother was accused of killing a white man, the family understood what that meant. Staying could mean death. At 14, Bumpy was sent north to New York City. Survival was no longer a fear, it was a discipline. Harlem did not welcome him, it tested him. By the 1920s, Harlem was a cultural capital of Black America, alive with writers, musicians, and thinkers. But it was also a center of organized crime. The numbers racket, an illegal lottery, flowed through the neighborhood like a shadow economy. It offered hope to the poor and enormous profits to those who controlled it. It was here that Bumpy aligned himself with Stephanie St. Clair, the formidable queen of numbers. She was strategic, politically aware, and fiercely protective of her territory. Bumpy became her chief enforcer, but he was more than muscle. He watched, he calculated, he learned structure. Then came Dutch Schultz, a white mob boss determined to seize control of Harlem's numbers operations. This was not just a financial dispute, it was an invasion. Schultz had police connections, political influence, and the backing of organized crime networks that extended beyond Harlem. Bombings followed, executions followed, intimidation became routine. The streets tightened with tension. St. Clair refused to surrender. Bumpy enforced that refusal. Violence answered violence. In 1935, Dutch Schultz was shot in a Newark restaurant. The decision had come from higher up, from the Italian Mafia leadership, who feared the chaos Schultz was creating. His death reshaped the balance of power. Charles Lucky Luciano had reorganized organized crime into a national commission, structured and corporate in its efficiency. Rather than continue a destructive war in Harlem, Luciano made an unexpected choice. He allowed Bumpy Johnson to control Harlem's rackets under mafia oversight. It was an unusual alliance, a black crime boss operating in partnership with Italian syndicates. But it worked. It reduced open warfare. It increased profits. Bumpy ruled quietly. He dressed sharply, carried himself with restraint, and spoke with precision. He was known to quote poetry. He read extensively. He cultivated an image of discipline rather than chaos, but his authority rested on the same foundation as any other crime boss: enforcement. Protection rackets expanded, gambling remained central, and over time, narcotics crept deeper into the community. Heroin profits grew. So did dependency. Prison interrupted his control more than once. In the 1950s, he was sent to Alcatraz on a federal conviction. The island prison was designed to break men. Isolation, cold air, steel bars. But Bumpy did not collapse into disorder. He read philosophy. He wrote poetry. He maintained routine. Guards later described him as disciplined and controlled, a man who understood patience as power. When he returned to Harlem, America was changing. The civil rights movement was reshaping the national conversation. Malcolm X spoke only blocks away. Muhammad Ali was redefining public defiance. But economic realities in Harlem remained harsh. Poverty endured. Opportunity remained uneven. In this environment, a younger hustler named Frank Lucas came under Bumpy's influence. He observed carefully. He learned supply routes, discipline, and the importance of direct connections. The heroin trade would later expand dramatically, and Lucas would build his own empire, but the blueprint began under Bumpy's shadow. By the late 1960s, Bumpy Johnson was no longer a young enforcer. He was an aging power broker in a neighborhood he had helped shape for decades. On July 7, 1968, he was sitting in Wells' restaurant in Harlem. He ordered coffee. Moments later, he clutched his chest, a heart attack. He was taken to Harlem Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. No gunfire, no dramatic raid, just a quiet medical ending to a violent life. His funeral drew a crowd. Some came out of respect, some came out of curiosity, some came out of obligation. Debate followed him even in death. Was he a protector who kept outside forces from exploiting Harlem, or was he simply another architect of the underground economy that harmed the same community it enriched? Popular culture would later romanticize his image. Films and television would reshape him into myth, but reality is less comfortable. Bumpy Johnson was a contradiction. Educated yet ruthless, controlled yet capable of sudden force, a man shaped by systemic injustice who in turn mastered the system available to him, legal or not. Harlem remembers him not as a legend carved in marble, but as a presence that once moved quietly through its streets. In the echo of late-night jazz and the shadows between brick buildings, his story lingers, not as a hero, not as a villain, but as a man who understood power in a city that offered very little mercy. Ellsworth Raymond Johnson, Bumpy. And Harlem has never entirely let him go.